What is up, guys? It is the TikTok Bayless, and welcome to a new episode of Mind Your Business with TikTok Bayless and Kenny Charles. I am Bryce, aka the TikTok Bayless, and I am joined alongside by.
Hey everybody, I am Kenny Charles, and today we have an exciting episode for you. We're talking about the NFC East, going over just a couple of minor news stories, and playing a quiz game with the TikTok Bayless. So first, NFL. Justin Jefferson re-signed a contract this week. Not as big as I anticipated, still pretty big. $35 million a year, the highest paid non-quarterback in the league. I'm not super excited about for the Vikings, but I do think it's a little less than I thought it'd go for. Bryce, what are your opinions on the Justin Jefferson signing?
I talked about this on my TikTok earlier this week, and I thought that this move was really good. It was way too overextended, and it gives whoever the quarterback is this year, whether it be Sam Darnold or JJ McCarthy, a key piece to build around. They also have Jordan Addison still, so I really don't think there's going to be that much of a downgrade this year if the quarterback room stays healthy and can put up numbers. Like, I don't love Kirk Cousins, but Kirk Cousins put up numbers with that Vikings offense and had success. So they have the pieces. Now, can they put it all together, and can they finally have quarterback success consistently, which is something they had numbers-wise, but not playoff-wise with Kirk Cousins. So we'll see if Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy can live up to the Kirk Cousins expectation.
Yeah, so I understand exactly what you're saying. I don't have very big expectations for the Minnesota Vikings. That'll be another episode for the NFC North. However, I think they probably should have traded JJ, got a few more assets, got younger. Addison, TJ Hawkinson, adequate weapons for a new quarterback, JJ McCarthy. This looks and sounds like they're going to roll with Darnold to start the season. That is what it is. Every coaching staff has to make that decision. I do not remember a situation where a top 2, 3, 4 paid wide receiver, let alone the number one wide receiver, leads to extreme playoff success with a quarterback that is unproven. The closest thing I think we've got, in my opinion, is A.J. Brown with Jalen Hurts. And that was a pretty big difference, in my opinion, because Jalen Hurts was semi-proven, and that defense at the time was super great. The offensive line was super great. We'll have to see how the Vikings play out. Wouldn't be a move I would make. I can see why Vikings fans like it, because Justin Jefferson brings in tickets. He's exciting to watch. Is there any other news stories this week that you find newsworthy to bring up?
Before I do that, I do call JJ McCarthy JJ Midcarthy because I do think he's mid. A lot of people saw my TikTok where I said I think JJ McCarthy is a third, fourth round talent. I think he was a mid-round draft talent. However, with quarterbacks you reach, I get it. And he was the only quarterback on the board. You knew 6 quarterbacks were going in the first round. And then there was the drop-off, huge drop-off between Bo Nix at 12 and then Spencer Rattler all the way down in the 5th round. Oh, yes. But we should, because a division we already talked about had a contract extension, which I don't know if you saw it on my TikTok, but I was not high on this at all. And that is the fact that the San Francisco 49ers are the stupidest contract team-wise. They overpay their running backs, especially a guy like this, who is really not as great as everybody makes him out to be, because Christian McCaffrey got a 2-year, $38 million contract extension that will pay him until he is 32 years old. You are paying a running back with injury history a huge contract well into their 30s. This is going to backfire in their face. And trust me, this is a guy who has been following Christian McCaffrey since his days in Carolina, because I don't know if you know, on top of being a Colts fan, I am also a Panthers fan. So I have been following Christian McCaffrey since 2017. And I have never been a fan of him since day one.
It's hard to take you serious when you call Christian McCaffrey mid. He's the best running back overall talent-wise between receiving, running, yards, touchdowns since LT. He does more than what AP could do. AP is a better pure rusher. no hands at all. I mean, he dropped almost every pass thrown to him. Christian McCaffrey is almost a wide receiver that can also run extremely well. He's an above average blocker for a running back. He does get hurt. He's had injury history, but I mean, he's tough as nails. I mean, every single time you see him on the sideline or his girlfriend posts some Instagram pictures, there's blood all over him. There's bruises all over him. He's tough. He gets beat up because he carries the ball. He's fearless. I love Christian McCaffrey. I think he's extended too long, but he's getting rewarded for bringing them to a Super Bowl. Yeah, I like it. Well, when we get into the fantasy content, maybe a little later in the offseason or on another channel, we can talk about it a little more. He is a one of one in the running back position over the last 5 years. He is what Saquon Barkley was supposed to be, and what Bijan was supposed to be. Bijan still has a chance. Saquon maybe still has a chance, but I don't know. To me, he's a unique talent. We'll see how it goes. Do you have anything to add about Christian McCaffrey? Oh my God.
I've never used that one before. That's the first one. I've never used Christian McCaffrey before.
It's hard. Mid should be like Tony Pollard or...
Oh, you mean Tony Pollard, who is mid, and I said this going into the year of last year with with Tony Pollard, that they will miss Zeke more than they care to realize. And now look, Tony Pollard's gone and Zeke is back. Yeah. But ironically, the two running backs you just mentioned, Saquon and Christian McCaffrey, who we're going to talk about Saquon later, have had injury issues. And I say this in the past. I've said this in the past. Receiving backs get hurt because they cannot handle contact, so they have to catch the ball. You look at Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, and Austin Eckler. 3 pass-catching running backs who are pass-catching first running backs miss at least 4 games a year. You have a guy like Derrick Henry who doesn't miss games. You have a guy like James Conner who is not as great on that level, but he is a runner and he doesn't miss games. Najee Harris, same way, does not miss games. And what do those guys do? They are all run first, run between the tackles. They do not get hurt. I would much rather have the averageness of James Conner over the pass-catching ability of a guy like Saquon, Christian McCaffrey, or Austin Eckler, because they will stay on the field 16 to 17 games a year. Maybe 18 if the NFL actually decides they're going to go to an 18-game schedule, which may happen.
So you're saying you'd rather have poor to okay running back talent over elite running back talent just because you'll have them for 2 extra games?
What is the best ability? Availability.
You can say that. I would rather have 15 games of Christian McCaffrey than 15 or 17 games from Alexander Mattison or Tony Pollard. So, just my opinion. I think you're going to win a lot more games with Christian McCaffrey as long as you have your defense. Great running backs typically don't lead to a lot of winning in today's NFL. I think since LT, maybe Adrian Peterson's MVP season, there hasn't been a running back that has literally won games the way that maybe you might argue what Christian McCaffrey did last season was winning games for the 49ers. There's a lot that went into that. The defense played extremely well. Purdy was extremely efficient. It all helps with having Christian McCaffrey, but you're right. Other elite talent at running back, you had Jonathan Taylor, you have Derrick Henry. They don't lead to a lot of wins. Exciting to watch, fun to watch. But without the quarterback, there's an issue. Maybe LT with Phillip Rivers. Maybe that's the reason they won so much. And then who knows? But I mean, do you want to get into the game?
Yes, but Derrick Henry led the Titans to the AFC Championship pretty much single-handedly back in 2019.
It was potentially. I feel like they got that defense bailed them out against Brady, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
that pick
Brady
six. Yeah, Brady, that pick six. But let's get into the NFC East.
NFL trivia first, Bryce.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Trivia.
Knowledge. Okay, NFL trivia, everybody.
Alrighty.
All right. NFL trivia with the TikTok Bayless. We're going to go over, can you name 10 quarterbacks who have thrown for 500 yards in a regular season game? There's a little more than 10, but we're just going to stick with 10 and make it a little easier this week.
I literally watched a video on this earlier this week.
You better not fail. It was
every quarterback since 2000. He didn't mention every single quarterback ever. But
to be fair, I think 85% of them are since 2000.
80, yeah, it's like 4 since 2000. It's like 4 pre-2000. One of them was Marino, did it.
You got one.
Before 2000. I think Fran Tarkenton did it because Norm Van Brocklin is the all-time single game passing yards leader with 554.
You got
554.
1 strike.
Yeah, because no Fran the man.
Tarkenton did not do it.
Joe Burrow is the most recent one.
We got 3. Yep, 3.
Drew Brees has the record for most 500-yard games. No, it's Ben. It's Ben with 4.
4 and 5. There you got Drew, Ben, and Joe there. So you need 5 more.
Matthew Stafford.
Does Stafford have it? Yes, Stafford has 520 in a game. So we're at 6.
Matt Schaub has a 500-yard passing game.
Yeah, somehow he has 527. You are at, is that 6? 6 or 7?
Brady has 1. Just 1.
517.
Peyton has 1.
Peyton is a
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
He does not. 2 strikes. 3 more quarterbacks.
Did Vinny do it? Vinny Testaverde, did he do it?
He did not do it. Testaverde is strike number 3. We'll see if you can get 3 more in the next 2 strikes. Let's give you 2 more strikes.
Dak Prescott.
Dak
Prescott, in that year he broke his leg in the most gruesome way. Was on track for like 5,800 yards or something. And then he did it.
Yep. 502 in a game. Just barely made it. So we're at 8. You need 2 more. You were close with one of your guesses. You just got the first name wrong.
Eli did it in that game, in that historic like 52-49 game against the Saints.
Yep. So 9. I think he had 510.
Jared Goff.
Does Goff have one? I don't
Patrick
see Goff's
Mahomes.
name up here. Goff does not have one.
Mahomes
does not have one.
I thought for sure they would have got either one of them would have got 500 yards in that Thursday night football, in the greatest Thursday night football game of all time. But odd.
We have a guy that looks a little goth. I don't know why. Just when I look at him, I just see kind of like a goth looking character.
Oh, Derek Carr?
Derek Carr has one.
Derek Carr, that's right. You said goth, and I said, oh, Derek Carr.
Doesn't he kind of look like...
He kind of does.
His eyes, I don't know what they're... And I kind of like him. I kind of get scared by him. I don't know what to think.
And then
Falcon quarterback, probably the best Falcon.
Matt Ryan. In
Probably
the MVP season.
Best Chargers quarterback historically.
Phillip Rivers.
Somebody that Dak Prescott replaced.
Tony Romo. That's right. Romo did it in like 2014 or something.
Yep. And then we have Boomer Esiason.
That's right. Boomer did it.
Some guy named Elvis Grbac.
Elvis Grbac. The one season he was with Kansas City, he did it.
Okay.
The one season he was a starter with Kansas City, he did it.
We got Phil Simms.
That's right. In 86, I think.
Vince Ferragamo.
Vince Ferragamo for the Rams.
And then we have a all-time great from the 50s, early 60s, played for San Francisco.
Wyatt Tuttle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is everybody. Overall, pretty good job. I can't believe you guys Peyton Manning and Mahomes, 2 very, very good overall quarterbacks in the history of the game, both failed to accomplish that small feat, that very small feat that Wyatt Tuttle was able to do back in the 50s.
I could have sworn that Mahomes did it in that Thursday Night Football classic between the Rams and the Chiefs. I could have sworn both of them did it, but I guess, wrong. Nope, they didn't do it.
They scored a lot. Yeah. In that game, November 19th, 2018, 478 yards for Patrick Mahomes. 478.
How close
that is his highest passing game.
478?
He's only had 10 games over 400 yards, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Just because it's Patrick Mahomes, you just assume there's more. We are going to get into the NFC East, everybody. NFC East predictions coming in now. All right, that's good enough. All right, we're going to start with the 4th best team in the division. Bryce, I will let you go first. The TikTok Bayless, everybody. is going to pick the
The New
Dallas
York
Cowboys
Giants.
fourth overall.
The New York Giants, I think, are going to be fourth place because that team does not have much at all. Daniel Jones might be the worst starting quarterback in the league in 2024. He is that bad. I have never been high on Daniel Jones, and the year last when his good year, he threw 15 touchdowns, and it got him a 4-year, $160 million contract. The Giants will be in literal hell. They might be the worst team in the entire league this year. That is how bad they are. I get they have Brian Burns. I get they have Kayvon Thibodeau and Sexy Dexy. But outside of that, who do they have? Because Darius Slayton's not great. They just lost their only offense, who everybody thinks Saquon's great, but he's not that great. But he was their entire offense last year, and they lost him for pretty much they lost him for nothing. They did. And I get they got Rome Odunze, but it's kind of like the Vikings without somebody great to throw to them. It doesn't matter.
Rome went to
Neighbors. No, Malik Neighbors, yeah. Malik Neighbors, but without a quarterback, it's going to turn into another Odell Beckham situation.
That's right. To be fair to Danny Dimes, he has had 20% of his career. He does okay. And I think he's very good at rushing the ball. He's like Josh Allen, just without the ability to throw. That's kind of like who he is, which is not good. I'm not saying
not Josh Allen.
It's not good. But Josh Allen can hit a target. He can get to Stephon Diggs. He can get to Kincaid. He can get to Gabe Davis. I mean, only Kincaid is left out of all those people. We'll get to the AFC East next week. Yeah. I'm going to actually go with probably your number 3. I'm going to go with the Reds. Boy, I'm going with the Commanders. The Commanders. Boy, to get 4th place in the division. And simple reason, the quarterback situation, just like the Giants, could potentially be pretty bad. Rookie quarterback coming in. There could be high expectations. There's not a lot. There's a better wide receivers. Austin Eckler's there. We'll see how he does. He didn't look like the same Austin Eckler last season. Could be injuries. It could be a whole bunch of other things. You mentioned the receiving backs injured. Austin Eckler was injured. I just don't have a lot of faith in anything that Washington does. They're supposed to be great. I believe it was 2 seasons ago. They came off of almost beating Brady in the playoffs, and they then fell apart, and they didn't do anything really last season. They traded away their best defensive assets. So I think the defense will be worse than the Giants, and that's the only reason I would put the Giants at 3 and Washington at 4, because I think that defensive line for the Giants, while not great last year, pretty terrible against the run. They can get to the quarterback. They have the talent. They just have to actually put it on paper. And I think that it's Dable, right? Correct? Still is coach.
Dable's the Giants coach.
I prefer him as a coach over ancient. Is it River Ron? I'm assuming it's still in Washington. I didn't even check.
No, Riverboat Ron is gone. It's Dan Quinn now. Dan Quinn's the coach.
I'm still going with Dable just because I don't have a reason. I've already committed to this take. I think both teams are going to be pretty bad. Pretty bad. I think they're both going to end up 5 and 12. So they're not going to win a lot of games. They'll win a game against each other. So they'll sneak one out against the Cowboys because
the Giants
it seems like every year they get lucky. It's a close game. But I'm really interested in not really your 3 because I have to assume it's Washington. If it's not, I might get up and leave. But your 2, I'm interested in who you're going with at 2.
So it's obvious with my 3 who I'm going with. I think it's pretty obvious. The Washington Commanders are 3. Only because, I do think Jaden Daniels, even though he is a rookie, and even though his elbow looks like you're going up a mountain ridge, I do think that Jaden Daniels is a better quarterback to throw to. A better quarterback because he has something that Daniel Jones doesn't, and that is the ability to throw the football. He can run the football. His offensive line is a mess. He might have the second, third, he has the 4th best receiver in that division because 1, 2, and 3 are unquestionably CD, AJ Brown, and Devontae Smith. So he has the best receiver, not named those 3, who Terry McLaurin would be a number 1, 2, and 3 combined on the New York Giants next year. That is, and they also have Jahan Dotson. They have De'Ami Brown, who was De'Ami Brown's not good, but he's still better than a lot of the Giants receiving core. Yeah. And I do like they still have Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen. I still love that defensive front right there. They have Kendall Fuller, who is an underrated slot receiver. Yeah, but I still think that Jaden Daniels will be the sole reason the Vikings the Commanders finish ahead of the Giants. And also Dan Quinn, I think, is a better coach, a million times better than Ron Rivera. And I love Ron Rivera, but from my Colts or from the Panthers. So
no, I will agree with he's a better coach than Rivera. I think I don't necessarily agree with your other take. I think McLaurin could be above Devontae Smith. Maybe I just haven't seen enough of Smith because he is the number 2. And I really like Scary Terry F1, whatever you want to give him. He is fast. He's a great route runner. And he's produced with literal crap at quarterback. Literal crap. I cannot think of a situation where I'd be like, I want that. Sam Howell, gone, right? I mean, I think he started with Dwayne Haskins. Rest in peace.
He did. He started.
That was not a good quarterback situation. So I think he had Wentz for half a season before he got injured. Maybe it was a full. I kind of wanted to throw up back then. I mean, lots of bad. Don't get me started with Carson Wentz. He still produces. So I do see a situation where if Eckler produces, if F1 gets a few passes here and there, Dotson kind of goes back to what he was supposed to be at the beginning of last year. De'Ami Brown has more consistency. I think they signed Zach Ertz out of nowhere.
They did. They do.
I don't have high expectations for that, but even if you get 5 or 6 games, there's a situation where they can win a few more games than the Giants if Jaden Daniels is the quarterback of the future. If he's another Darnold or Zach Wilson or one of these failed prospects, it'll suck for them, but I feel like that is Washington's MO, is they just cannot figure out that situation.
Yeah.
We got lucky with Kirk Cousins because they drafted him as just pretty much a backup.
Yeah.
And got lucky. But your number 2 here, I'm extremely interested in where we're going here.
I forgot to mention also, I do think Emmanuel Forbes is going to have a bounce back year. I do think Emmanuel Forbes is going to bounce back from his awful rookie season where he was benched. So, he could be a comeback player of the year candidate. Just to point that out. Number 2, this is going to probably ruffle a lot of people's feathers back home. I do think the Philadelphia Eagles are finishing second. I do. They're going to make the playoffs. I think it is an absolute guarantee given that they are going to make the playoffs. I am higher on Jalen Hurts than a lot of people are. I think Jalen Hurts is fantastic. The tush-push thing irritates the living shit out of me because, yes, it's a move. If you complain about it and want it stopped, here's the thing. You stop it. Nobody can stop it. Nobody can.
Well, they're the only team that gets it to work. So
yeah, the other teams have tried it and it doesn't work. So I don't know what to tell you. Jalen Hurts is a better passer than people give him credit for. Yes, he had a lot of interceptions last year, and I think that is something he's going to work on. You look at Dak, previous seasons before, 10-plus interceptions. Dak cut that down this year. Passer-wise, I do think that he still has ways to go to reach Dak Prescott level quarterback-wise, but I do think he's in the better situation because that defense is better. They have a better receiving core. Their offensive line is better. However, I do think the fact that the Cowboys' offense is just so deadly is the fact that I think the Cowboys finish first over the Eagles. And plus, the Eagles have Saquon Barkley, so that automatically docks them 2 wins. So,
yeah, he's going to be injured, right? That's your MO.
He's going to be injured, yeah.
So, I agree. I have the same 2 teams here. My reasons is slightly different. I think that offensive line for the Eagles is going to take a plummet downturn without Jason Kelce. I don't think people understand how important continuity is and how important communication is. He did both of those things for the last decade there. He's historically could be considered the greatest center of all time. based on all pros, Pro Bowls, winning. If you kind of look at the history of centers, there isn't a lot that really compares to the metrics that he put out there. And then the other interesting point that I would like to make out is Jalen Hurts has had the same center his entire career. That is going to be a big change for the whole offense in terms of communication. So he has to communicate to the center and worry about what the line is going to be doing for the first time in his career. Before, Jason Kelsey probably mentored him, kind of told him exactly what he wanted. That is all going to be on Hurts. And then after that, he's going to have to worry about getting the ball here, getting the ball there. And now he has a running back that is going to demand carries and targets that he hasn't had before. Jalen Hurts has been able to kind of pick and choose, be the dominant force in that offense. Saquon Barkley is a big presence. He was supposed to be an all-time great running back. That has clearly not worked out up to this point. So you're going to have to give him the ball. You can't just be like, we're paying you all this money. Take 10 touches a game like we did DeAndre Swift and make it work. Just be happy with what you're getting. So I think there's going to be a little more problems in that offense. The defense fell apart. I think that comes back to it. The middle, I don't think it's going to be great, but I think it'll be a middle-of-the-road defense. They have pieces, especially up front, that should be great. So I think they have potential. I just don't think that offense is going to be nearly as dominant as a lot of people are thinking. They think you bring in Saquon, now we're a top 3 offense. I don't think it works like that in the NFL. So
I do like the additions of Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean Mustard. That nickname has to stick now. It's Cooper DeJean, but people need to call him Cooper DeJean Mustard now. I do love that. I think that it depends on where Cooper DeJean plays. First of all, sometimes maybe he's going to play safety, maybe he'll play nickel corner, who knows. But I do like those 2 additions. I think they're really underrated moves, but I still don't think there's a scenario where the Eagles finish first in the NFC East. Like, as you mentioned before, the Eagles' offensive line might be a revolving door this year. And Lane Johnson, who's hurt a lot. No Jason Kelsey anymore. Jordan Mailata, who knows if Jordan Mailata is actually going to get injured. When he plays, he's phenomenal. He's also never hurt. But, yeah, that secondary still might have a lot of issues because they did get C.J. Gardner-Johnson back. But there's still more issues because they still do have Darius Slay and James Burnt Toast Bradbury. So,
and they're all aging. They are. Minus, what did you call him? DeJean Mustard?
Cooper DeJean Mustard. Yeah. Quinyon Mitchell.
Kool-Aid is actually a name.
I know. NFL, hire me for your nicknames, please. Hire me to do your nicknames. Quinyon Mitchell's a rookie, too. He was the first corner taken in the draft. That they do have 3 younger corners now. That 1 through 5 might be the scariest 5-corner rotation we've ever seen now.
Ever?
With Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, CJ GJ, Darius Slay, and James Bradbury.
I think that might be pushing a little bit, but none of them are top 3 or 5 players, so I feel like you can't even put them in that conversation. But I get your point. I would prefer having 2 or 3 elite ones and then just some rotation on the back. You have to take who you can get, and maybe if some of those players step up. Going to the Cowboys, literally the only situation that the Cowboys don't get first, in my opinion, is if Dak Prescott goes down again. Because who knows what happens after that. Quarterback matters a lot. I think nothing really exciting from their offseason besides they brought back Zeke, fan favorite. I think he had a better season than people realized last season. Is he the Zeke that came into the league as a rookie? No, but he is still fairly talented, and he makes it through the season every season for the most part. Rarely injured. Overall, he does have decent hands. He's pretty good at blocking, smart running. I'm kind of excited to see how it looks. I'm not a massive Cowboys fan. I know I have some Cowboys memorabilia, but this is actually the worst trade in NFL history up until Russell Wilson. Is this man?
The Herschel Walker trade!
Yeah, I got the Cowboys Herschel Walker. I also have a Herschel Walker poster right back there, but mostly he came to Minnesota and had to get something signed.
What a disaster of a trade.
Hey, I don't think it's worse than Russell Wilson's trade, in my opinion. But it did lead the Cowboys to more success. He wasn't that bad in Minnesota. He just wasn't great.
Herschel Walker got them 3 Super Bowls. So.
He did. Good job. We got to listen to Cowboy fans talk about how great they are for the last 30 years, even though it happened 30 years ago. So I'm not super excited about the Cowboys' season hopes in terms of Super Bowl chances because it is the Cowboys, and Dak needs to prove himself, but they should run away with this division. Also, I don't know if you've seen Micah Parsons on any of those podcasts. He did the one with CJ
He
Stroud.
needs to shut the hell up.
It's semi-funny the first time you watch something, and then you realize he actually believes all the things he's saying, which I love. CJ's responses usually. He's just like rolling his eyes, laughing. I'm like, come on, Micah, like, be a grown-up almost.
Yeah, like, I say stuff to get a reaction. He literally feels this way every day. Like, Micah Parsons, say what you will, there's not a fake bone about that man because everything that comes out of his mouth, he 100% believes. He is literally Cowboys Nation. He is delusional the same way Cowboys Nation is, in the sense that every year is their year. You're right. Every year is your year, Dallas fans, to go to the playoffs and lose in the first round. Sorry, exactly Cowboys fans. That's exactly what happens every year since 1996. They have lost every single year they've been to the playoffs in the first round since 1996.
I think Dak has one playoff win, doesn't he? Doesn't
Dak
have...
correct. Yeah, he does. He beat Brady in 2022 or 2022. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's his own.
And to be fair to Cowboys fans, I believe it was a catch. It doesn't matter what I believe. I do believe it was a catch, though.
Are you saying that because you're from Minnesota?
No, I honestly believe, like, looking back at it, he had control of that ball.
He did.
But the rules were the rules. I think in today's NFL, that would have been considered a catch.
It would have.
To be fair, though, Brady wouldn't be Brady. The rules favored him at the time in Oakland, so you got to live with the rules.
That's true. Now, we both have Dallas 1. With the exception of 3 and 4, our 1 and 2 are exactly the same.
And my 3 and 4, you can flip a coin. I could care less. They're both trash.
The NFC East is literally a 2-man race between Dallas and Philadelphia right now. Let's see if Dallas can become the first repeat NFC East champions since the early 2000s.
It has to happen sooner or later, guys. It has to happen.
It has to. Like, so, if the Texans have won 2 straight division titles since the Cowboys have, it's time for the Cowboys to repeat because they have the talent to do it. They do. Their offense is scary. This might be the best Dallas Cowboys defense we've seen in quite some time.
They have playmakers everywhere.
They're going to get a fully healthy Trayvon Diggs. Deron Bland is so good. I do love Malik Hooker. He has turned around his career from when he was a Colt. Micah Parsons is Micah Parsons. He is pretty much unguardable on the field and every time he opens his mouth at a podcast. But you can't deny how good Dak is an MVP candidate every single regular season because he is a top 2 or 3 quarterback statistically every single season. Should Dak have won MVP last year? I think he should have over Lamar. He should have won over Lamar last year.
Purdy should have had it over both of them, but that's a conversation for a different day.
Josh Allen. Josh Allen deserved it over Lamar, but
too many
40 touchdowns though. So
yeah,
Josh Allen, I think, had more interceptions last year than Lamar Jackson had total touchdowns.
I don't think that's true, but it could be.
It's close. It's close. I think Lamar had like 19 passing touchdowns or something last year.
I think you're close to that.
But
we have a new segment this week. Bryce has created his NFC East all NFC East team.
All NFC East team, yes.
Yes.
So
and moving forward, what we're going to do is I'm going to create a list and we're going to kind of go back and forth. We're going to create teams, and then on other social media platforms, maybe on this platform, we will be creating a simulation on Madden just for some fun. See who's better at picking players, the TikTok Bayless or me, Kenny Charles. If he wins, it's just because he got lucky, though, because I am better at this. We're going to listen to his terrible list real quick. We'll make critiques. You take the floor, Bryce.
Quarterback 1. I know I talked about Dak so highly, but I have QB1 as Jalen Hurts. I have QB2 as Dak. And then I have QB3 as Daniel Jones because I remember you saying no rookies. So that's why I didn't have Jaden Daniels over Daniel Jones for that reason only. So that's my quarterbacks. My running backs, here we go. I know you're going to disagree with this one.
Let's just go over. We're going to do this position group at a time because Dak, I would just switch Dak and Jalen Hurts there. I think Dak has proven more outside of the Super Bowl run than Jalen Hurts. I could argue it either way, though. I think that you make.
I'm not mad either way.
Yeah, either way. We'll go to running backs. We'll see what you got.
QB3 is unquestionably Daniel Jones, only because we can't have rookies.
Default. Yeah.
Who knows? I might have the Commanders backup. Who knows? I might even put Kenny Pickett over Daniel Jones. Who knows?
I wouldn't hate that, actually.
I wouldn't either. Is he running back 1? I have Zeke.
Ezekiel Elliott?
I have Zeke at running back 1.
Is it 2017 and nobody told me?
Running back 2, I have Brian Robinson. Running back 3, I have Devin Singletary for the Giants.
So we skipped Austin Eckler in Washington, and then we've skipped the most skilled / talented all the way to number 4. Or is he number 5? Is he behind Eckler?
I think he would be behind Eckler. I would put him behind Eckler, yeah.
Okay, we are going to make a Madden thing anyway this week. It doesn't even matter because I'm getting whoever I want at this point. What the fuck is happening here?
Okay.
Wide receivers, I think maybe you could make an argument for 1 or 2. Either way, the top 2 have to be. It has to be, right?
I have CD 1, AJ Brown 2, Devontae Smith 3, Terry McLaurin 4, and Brandon Cooks 5.
Brandon Cooks 5?
Yeah, I have Brandon Cooks 5. Only because we couldn't have rookies, so I couldn't put Malik Neighbors. So.
Okay. I think at this very moment I'd put Dotson over Cooks, but otherwise I'm pretty close on your list. I might flip Terry and Devontae, but I mean I think it's a pretty good list. Don't hate anything about it. Tight ends.
Tight end. I have 3 tight ends: Jalen Ferguson, Darren Waller, and Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, I mean they're all just tight ends. Nothing exciting about any of them to me personally, but I don't hate
Jalen Ferguson is insanely underrated. He is insanely underrated.
Yeah, but Waller is extremely great when he's actually playing.
Who knows if he's going to retire? He may retire. Yeah. Who knows?
But no, I don't hate that list. Dallas Goedert, he looked great early on. I feel like he's kind of faded, but that could be Jalen Hurts' fault. Who knows?
Left tackles, I have Jordan Mailata and Evan Neal. Left guard, I have Zach Martin because Zach Martin still is...
That's the only option.
Center, John Michael Schmitz for the Giants. The only time the Giants, I think, pop up on this list at all. Offensive line-wise. Right guard, Sam Cosmi. And then right tackle, Lane Johnson.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, the tackle's perfect. I'm going to be honest, I don't know a single center in the conference that I would be like, ooh, I want him on my team. So.
Trust me, I looked at this and I found it so hard to put a center because I have Tyler Biadasz as my center too, former Cowboys center who's now in Washington. So,
and then, I guess we're about to find out how you did the defensive line because edge could be either outside linebacker or defensive end. So we'll see how you kind of put these.
I did it just normal. I prefer 3-4 defenses, but I kind of did it how each one looks. So I did it. Left end, DeMarcus Cousins. Left end 1, or DeMarcus Lawrence. DeMarcus Cousins. What is this, 20 seed NBA? No, DeMarcus Lawrence.
Okay.
As my left end 1. Left end 2, I have Dante Fowler. Right end 1, I have Micah Parsons. Right end 2, I have Josh Sweat. I have 4 defensive tackles: Dexter Lawrence, Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, and Jordan Davis.
Okay.
And then...
No Carter.
No, he's listed as a defensive end.
He is?
Yeah, he's listed as a defensive end. That's why I didn't put him there. Because you can't... And he's listed as a right end. So I didn't put him at left end because I would have put him over Dante Fowler any day. Yeah. Left outside linebacker, I have Brian Burns and Nolan Smith. You can put Brian Burns as an edge if you do a 3-4 or a 4-3. Middle linebackers, I have Jamin Davis and Nakobe Dean. Right outside linebackers, I have Kayvon Thibodeau and Damone Clark.
Okay.
Cornerback 1, CJ Gardner-Johnson's a safety. CJ Gardner-Johnson's the safety. Cornerback 1, I have Darius Slay, because I still think Darius Slay is so good. Then I have Trayvon Diggs at 2. I have Deron Bland 3, James Bradbury 4, and Emmanuel Forbes at 5. Only because I couldn't put Cooper DeJean, or Quinion Mitchell.
Well, Fuller's not in there, obviously.
Yeah, Kendall Fuller is. I still think those 5 guys are better than Kendall Fuller right now. I have Malik Hooker at free safety, and Reed Blankenship is the backup free safety. And then I have C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Jeremy Chin as my strong safeties.
Okay.
Kicker, Jake Elliott. That's obvious. Punter, Brian Enger. Head coach, Brian Daboll. I do think Brian Daboll is the best coach in the NFC East.
What is going on with you?
No, McCarthy will put Zeke at center in a big playoff game. So,
just for the sake of Madden, if you're taking a team defense, which defense do you think is the best in the NFC East?
I do think the Cowboys defense is the best defense in the NFC East. So
when I create this video, I'm just gonna put that as the base team. We'll put that in there. Otherwise, all these trades would take me about 10 hours.
10 years. Yeah.
I will go with the Philadelphia Eagles. I feel like it's fair. He put a lot more work into this. I'm going to cry trying to pretend that anybody is close to that defense. But I mean, I got my quarterback. I get whatever running back I want, which is going to be Saquon. I just fucking Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, I can't get over that. That is a terrible decision. You just clearly hate the Giants, the Eagles, and I was about to say the other word again, but it is the Commanders. Gosh, bad choices there. So yeah, we'll put this in there. That'll be on TikTok for sure, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for watching. This was a fun episode.
It was longer than usual. So
yeah, it was very good. I'm baffled by a couple of the TikTok Bayless's takes here, but that is every single week here on Mind Your Business.
It is.
So
now remember, if you like this video, comment, subscribe, share it, do whatever you want to with it. But if you don't like our sports takes, you can just mind your business. And we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
See you guys later. Thank you so much.